Welcome to the Brett Davis Podcast. Well, it seems like just yesterday we were here. Hi, I'm Brett Davis, of course, with the Brett Davis Show, coming to you from Attorney King's studio with, of course, the IQ Podcast team. Sarah by herself, of course, is the team. It just sounds funny. I don't know why. And, of course, I'd like to thank my sponsors, of course, Attorney King for everything he does, Sequan Casino, Spa and Resort, IB Fitness with Marina Teal, and thank you for what you do. And we look forward to also working with Bona Facetta on the upcoming event that we're going to be talking about today to help get a vintage police car. And so with me today is my guest, of course, Todd and Bill. Of course, nice to see you guys.
Nice to see you, Brett.
So, of course, Todd runs the parade, probably the best 4th of July parade in California, I would think. I really mean that, by the way.
Not just we're working for the West Coast,
not just
California,
not just Southern California, but the whole state of California.
The whole state,
yeah. Because you do a really good job. We'll talk more about that parade and what it means, not only to Coronado, but I think also for the right that patriotism is one of those things that seems to be not a real popular thing, but it is in Coronado. And then, of course, we've got this gentleman here who's doing an amazing job. He runs the association for the police department in Coronado.
Yes.
Right. And what we're trying to do is Todd had mentioned to me that you were going to be trying to put together funding to buy this vintage police car from the 1950s.
Yeah. So I run the Coronado Police Officers Association, and we're a nonprofit association. And one of our members had the idea of purchasing an antique police car. And at our department in the upstairs, there's a bunch of old photos from across the history of our police department, which has been around a really long time, since 1890, actually.
Really?
And one of those is several officers standing around a 1950s Chevrolet Deluxe. So came up with the idea to purchase and restore a antique police car, just like in the picture. So our association put aside $10,000, and we're looking to funding to complete the project.
That's great. And I mean, it makes sense. We have a city that's kind of historical anyway, and it just seemed like a great idea and a great fit. And community outreach by police officers right now is a really important, it always has been an important aspect of the job, I would think. But now with all the negative media attention that's been put on law enforcement, which is totally misguided, I think, this is a really good situation for the community, which in Coronado, we don't have those types of problems, do we?
We don't. It's I've worked for the Coronado Police Department for over 6 years. Prior to that, I was in Maryland as a police officer for over 7 years. And yeah, I've been very fortunate that get a lot of community support, especially here in Coronado. We don't seem to have the issues that some other places have. And, you walk down the street, people thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do. They tell you how great a job that you're doing, and just appreciate you every day.
Now, you're married?
I am.
Does your wife tell you that?
Most of the days.
Good. And there I go, stirring the pot. And on that note, we're going to go to Todd.
No, I think this is going to be awesome to have a antique squad car in the parade. I'm kind of biased here because we want more content in our parade. We've got Little Mac in the parade, which is an old 50s fire truck that they brought back and restored. So we need the police here to show up Little Mac and put together a Chevy Deluxe and have it in, some of our events for Coronado, the Christmas parade and 4th of July parade and some of the other events that they have around town. It'd be perfect to go out and actually meet and reach out to the public and give them a little bit of show for what they do.
So you're trying to cause a challenge between the police department and the fire department?
Oh, most definitely.
Why would you do that?
I'm evil.
I will say those.
Is there a little bit of what's the word between when people have what's it called
sibling rivalry?
Yeah, is there a little bit of that?
There definitely is. Those guys are America's heroes,
Well, so are you guys.
Yeah, but
Is there a debate on that? I mean, does it go back and
No,
forth? Well,
not the last 3 years, according to others.
I mean, you're both very important, and I'll tell you, we met a nice couple the other day. We had dinner when we were doing our event over in Laughlin, and then we went to Vegas after. But overall, the people that I typically meet and connect with are people that are very patriotic and love this country. And when I think about those things, I think about our military. I think about our law enforcement. I don't think about the people that have electric companies or stuff like that, because you can find those people anywhere. But or people that do media. I mean, they're worth their diamond, worth their weight, and there really is not much. But when I think about law enforcement, firefighters, military, school teachers, to me, that's the word bedrock comes to mind. And family structure. I mean, all those things are very vital for law. I mean, we have to have orderly things in this country and in the world. I mean, so I have a lot of respect for that. And so when you mentioned the 4th of July parade, and then you mentioned the police department, and then you mentioned, getting this vintage police car, it sounds like a no-brainer. And again, I said this earlier, but thank you again for what you do, because I really do love what you do for, as far as your job. And every time I see a law enforcement person or anybody and I'm sure Todd's the same way, I get really emotional about it, because I see how effortless, and people don't take that job for the money. They do it because they really love the career. I mean, you have to make money, of course, and you should be getting raises, but I don't want to get into union stuff, but you should be getting raises. But we need you guys. And right now there's a decline in people wanting to be cops because of all the crap that's out there that's not really true, that are being focused on. But in this community, we got a little bit of a difference because of the fact that we have a military town. People appreciate, like you said, when they see you, they say thank you. What's the one of the things, because you've been in other cities, what's the one thing about Coronado you would describe makes you just don't want to leave? I mean, you love your job where you're at. You love being here. What is it that's so unique here?
Yeah, well, I think one big thing is it's a small town community, and community is really the right word. The people here, they are very neighborly. They like each other. They like us. For the 4th of July parade, they go out, they set up tents together. We have to, they can't set up until 5 a.m., but they're out there at 3 in the morning ready to go. So, that the 4th of July parade, I think, really symbolizes that sense of community here and what Coronado is all about. The people, they just are so great. Patriotism, you brought that up earlier, and I think that this is a very patriotic community, and I'm sure it goes back to its roots with the military. And we have the 3 naval bases here, so there's still a lot of military presence in town. But yeah, it's very different than other communities.
Well, we're surrounded by a large group of people that run into danger rather than run away from danger. And that's one of the things that we probably need to look at most with law enforcement and fire rescue and our military, is those people run towards the danger to protect us when other people are running to get away. And what you guys do is, never praised enough. So anything that we can do to help out with the police department, I'm there. Same with the fire department, I'm there. I lean more towards the police department.
I was going to say a little bit ago, you're kind of waffling and playing both sides.
Well, I've got law enforcement in my family, so I kind of steer more towards law enforcement, and the bad rap that they've had for the last couple of years has been.
Did I meet your nephew?
Yes, my nephew's. Yeah, he's a sheriff.
Remember we met? We had lunch.
San Bernardino County Sheriff.
Very, very nice guy. Should be a comic all the way. Also, he's very funny.
Yeah,
I guess you have to be, right? Most guys I know that are in law enforcement are funny as.
Yeah, you have to have a sense of humor.
You do.
So you don't live really in the community, and yet you're running this amazing parade. What was the buy-in for you? What was it about the parade that you said, wow, something happened that brought you here? What was it? Did you see the parade? I mean, because how did this happen?
No, originally I was actually required by my job at the time to move to Coronado. I was head of security for a very wealthy individual, and it got me close to the community. And once I stepped back from that position to spend more time with my kids, I decided to get more involved in the community. And I've been a big patriot my whole life anyways. So the 4th of July was a no-brainer. I sponsored the first year, and from that, they asked if I wanted to join on the committee to help produce the parade and do everything that needs to happen for that. So I did that for 5 or 6 years. The old entity ended up going defunct, and we formed a new entity, and there was only 3 of us that formed it, and one of us had to be a president, and I guess I got the lucky stick that allowed me to take over this reign here for the time being. And I'm blessed to have the opportunity to keep this tradition going and turn it into the best possible parade and events that we can possibly do for this community. This community deserves it. I mean,
well, I'll tell you, Sarah and I went for the first time last year, and I'd heard, you know, you hear things, it's a great parade, but then, you know, I don't think what we heard did it justice. And then we saw the organization that was involved. We saw many people, men and women, and canines supportive of the day from all ranks, all positions. Everybody was very nice. It was a good flow amongst the crowd. You could see everybody was having a good time. And with this new generation, I call them the StarTAC generation, where everything's on their cell phone, everything goes to the phone. I wasn't sure if that group was going to be really into a parade. And when we looked around, they were into the parade. They weren't on their phones. They were into the parade. I was shocked because that's not the way most kids are. And the ones I saw at the parade that day were into the parade. And I mean, we were in the parade. We went up and down. We saw everything that was going on. I'm sure some people were doing it, but as a whole, everybody was like this. And I think maybe one of the other reasons might be, other than the fact it's a great parade, is the streets are very lean. We have lean streets on Orange. It's not so wide, and everybody's more, it's like right there.
Yeah, it's perfectly set up for it with the 2 sides and the median there. So you get spectators on both sides, grassy areas that they can set up their tents and make a whole day of it.
well, and that's something that we've been trying to do over the last couple of years is actually give more entertainment and keep people engaged rather than just sitting there waiting for that parade to start. So more music and more what we call party favors that we throw out to the kids so they can mark poop circles for the equestrian groups that run through.
Can you say poop on the podcast?
Oh,
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to poop on the podcast.
Actually, we've had worse.
It's a very big game for them. Yeah.
We've had worse on the show.
No, I mean, this town is very conducive for a parade, and the amount of support that we get, not only from the city itself, but the fire services and police services. They bring in police from all over the county. For that highway patrol, sheriff, border patrol, some military. They've got a lot of cooperation because we are a very, very highly publicized parade, and it's the #1 event in San Diego.
Again, I'm going to tell you, I still think that we have the best parade in California. I really believe that.
I definitely believe so.
On the West Coast, yes, we do.
Hey, Todd, I'm going to chime in. This is producer Sarah. Everybody thinks, I believe, that the Coronado Parade and fireworks is already sponsored by the city, but it's not. So can you talk about that a little bit? Because
it's actually a really good question, and that's probably why you're my wife and why you're in the show, because you've got your crap together a little bit there. That's true, actually, right?
No, we do get some support from the city. They typically give us a grant. We put in for a grant every year. We could put in for a grant for the full amount every year, and most likely we would get it because it is the largest event that Coronado produces. But we've all decided that really the community needs to be a part of it. Otherwise, it kind of gets taken for granted. The more skin people have in the game, in even a $5 donation or a $2 donation. We had a donation last year, a check written for $4, probably cost more for the envelope and the stamp and the check than it did, but it's the heart. You know, it's the person that actually wrote that check has supported every year for years and years. And that's what we're looking for, is more people to support and continue this tradition.
That's sweet.
And
'cause you don't-
it's awesome.
because you don't know what, I mean, $4, we can joke and laugh that somebody's writing a check for $4, but we don't know the circumstances of that individual and
Fixed income, yeah,
and the fact that they're still making the effort. And you said they've been doing this consistently for a long time.
for a long time.
So, I mean, that says a lot about their character. I mean, it's not about the money. It's the consistency and that they care enough to still be involved. And I mean, we don't know the circumstances.
One thing we looked at last year, and we do a lot on the social media and try and keep an eye on what happens on some of the social media. We had somebody actually go on there, and we were looking for a certain amount of money. I think it was $60,000 that we were still trying to fundraise for last year. And somebody said, "Oh, it costs $60,000 to put on a parade." And I had to get back on there, and I'm like, our budget for all of the events was $130,000 last year.
People have no
which
idea.
which is cheap. Well, and if you think about it, we're $130,000 that we're spending for parade and fireworks and stuff, but the city services alone is giving $150,000, $200,000 between fire and police and all the security efforts, all of city services, trash.
Because everybody has to be paid for their time.
Oh yeah. Well, even the porta potties. I mean, all of these things all add up, all the barricades, everything that goes into producing a large day event like this. I mean, you're talking an event that starts at 7 a.m. and runs till 11:30 at night when people are still trying to get off this island.
Yeah, it's definitely a all hands event, and it's just not, it's police, fire, public services. All of us are out there in it. It's not just that day; it's usually a whole weekend because there's other events, there's runs, skydivers, fireworks, little everything that week. So we're doing 3 or 4 days worth of coverage for that one weekend.
Yeah, and that's every year. I mean, things have kind of getting stretched out a little bit
Sure.
more on these, but yeah.
So how can we help? And I've already thrown my hat in to help as far as Sarah and I have, as far as having this dinner event the night of our fitness talent show, which is on May 7th, with Bonifacetta's, graciously stepping up and helping. We were talking, having dinner the other night, and Marcus stepped up, of course, like he always does. And we showed him the picture of the police car, the little flyer. I think you put the flyer together.
Yeah, I think they actually put one up in their window for us.
Yeah. And so he's like, absolutely. He says, let's help out. So if anybody else in the community or anybody else that's seeing the show that really loves law enforcement wants to help give money to the car, where can they donate? How do they do that?
Yeah, so they can donate to the Coronado Police Officers Association, and our website should be on the podcast video there, but it's coronadopoa.org. I ask if you donate through the website, just do it as a tribute to the antique police car. That way we know you're contributing to that. You can also send checks to the Coronado Police Officers Association at the police station there, and it's 700 Orange Avenue, Coronado, 92118.
And then, of course, if people want to help, and thank you, if people want to help out with, of course, the 4th of July parade, sponsorships are probably still available, or maybe they just want to donate and they don't want anything at all. People do write checks just to help out, of course, you said.
Correct. Yeah, we have all levels of participation from people. We've got sponsorships, we've got just straight donations, we've got volunteers, lots of opportunities for people to help out, whether it's giving a hand or giving out some donations. We're accepting anything. Our information can be found on CFOJ. That's Coronado 4th of July. CFOJ.events is our website. And all of our donation and volunteer pages are within the site.
And you're going to be doing more of these types of podcasts as we get closer, of course, to the 4th of July in parade in Coronado and the fireworks show, with sponsors that are graciously involved. And you want to highlight what you're doing because they all have different reasons. And I think testimonies are great why people want to be involved. It tells a story. It makes sense. One story for one person is not always the same story for another. So you hear these varieties of why these sponsors have stepped up, and whatever else that you want to talk about, of course, on this podcast, I think is going to be a great show.
Yes, most definitely.
Any surprises for the next guest? Or are you still looking who that's going to be? I mean, you have somebody coming up. I'm sure it's going to be interesting.
I've been working on other fires at the moment, so I haven't decided who to bring in.
I thought you were retired.
Yeah. I was retired yesterday. I'm retired today.
Okay. Well, I thank both of you again for being here. We love what you're doing. Thank you both very much. Of course, we're honored to be working with both of you. It's nice to work with like-minded people that really care about their community and really want to see great things happen. And thank you both. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Brett.
Thank you.
And thank you, Sarah, for everything you do. We appreciate you keeping the show good, and don't be embarrassed. It's okay, Sarah. Everybody out there, again, would support our police officers in Coronado and our association. The information's there. Would step up and help the 4th of July parade. And Todd's doing a great job, and let's continue to see this parade reach over 200,000 people this year. Everybody take care, and yippee-ki-yay.